Good evening, TheoTrade. This is Corey Rosenblum and watching the Theo Nightly video for the 5th of November, 2019. As I was doing my scans this afternoon and a little bit this weekend too, I noticed something a little out of the ordinary. Something we don't talk about that much because we normally focus on financials and technology and maybe some other sectors and leading stocks. But after doing some new 52-week high scans and looking at our ETFs on the sector rotation basis, we got a little dark horse candidate here, and that's industrials. Looking at XLI, we see the industrial sector breaking out to a new, not just a 52-week high, but an all-time high. So we're going to focus on that and discuss some other leading names, including the sector of technology, which is up there too, and financials. But we spend a lot of time talking about those, so maybe just in today's session, today's video, we'll just talk about the industrials. And we can see there the XLF, although it's making a new 52-week high, it's not at all-time highs. The only other major sector to join the industrials at all-time highs is our good friend, the technology sector, which is XLK. Now, this is where I got the inspiration from. It is our 52-week high, or stocks in the S&P 500, that are making new 52-week highs. We look at this stock for candidates to get long or bullish opportunities, especially to hedge out if we're net short or net hedged or bearish in any type of bigger position or swing position. We might want to add a little bit of bullish catalyst to balance out the risk of the market going straight up, or at least to play in a relative strength candidate for additional upside action. Even if the market sells off next week or into this week, not all stocks will sell off. Or if that sell-off does occur, we might look at some of these candidates, stocks making new highs or uptrending, to get in on pullbacks. But this is where the inspiration came from. Just looking at the stocks making new 52-week highs recently, today there are, roughly speaking, 59. So 59 stocks have made new 52-week highs, and some of them are at new all-time highs. Now, I look at this in a broader perspective and discuss this with a little scan on the watch list, but I also talk about which sector is dominating. So that jumped off the chart at me very clearly, that industrials or stocks within the industrial sector are consistently making new highs. And that led me to look over here at the XLI, which you can see right there, just there actually, is making a new gap and play to the upside. We're looking at it on the weekly chart just because we can see the bigger picture. But back to a daily chart, we are getting, and this, I think a member asked me a question in a live chat about industrials breaking to the upside a couple of days ago because it was in a sideways trading range. And the answer is yes, it's doing so on high volume. And that was the case really as of Halloween at the end of October. So the next two sessions, this is Tuesday, have been to the upside. But then again, so has the broader market. Now, back to our scan. I certainly don't expect us to go look at in each of these names individually, but just a quick overview of these S&P 500 candidates. They might not be names that you are familiar with, so maybe this is a time to do that. So they would include United Technologies, one that we probably look at consistently, UTX. We also look at Jacobs Engineering, JEC. Probably have heard me mention Eaton Corporation, which is ETN. Honeywell, we know that because that's in the Dow. So is John Deere, DE, and our good little friend, enemy or frenemy, Caterpillar, just to name a few. And there are other stocks, Grainger, UPS, United Parcel, and etc. So these are just sort of the names to look at. Fastenal has come up as well, FAST, and URI, which is United Rentals, or just Grainger. You may or may not be familiar with more of these names depending on your experience, or just as a trader or by interacting with some of these companies over the years. Nevertheless, this is where the strength is. It's actually in industrials, and it's a sector most people aren't watching, or at least not in my experience or in my trading circles. We easily talk about financials, technology. Remember, sometimes the hidden gems or the better opportunities lie within sectors, stocks, or opportunities that the bulk of the trading community aren't watching. And those may be in industrials right now. The other thing to look at is, of course, our good friend financials. They continue to make new highs as well, and we're seeing that in the sector performance. And these would include familiar names such as Bank of America, Citigroup, JP Morgan, US Bancorp, and others, including Morgan Stanley. So just taking a look, I know we can't look at all of them, but just for perspective opportunities in these sectors, fast and all, just kind of randomly looking at them, we're trying to find stocks that are uptrending that potentially have pullbacks or retracements. So for example, we'll just go ahead and look at Honeywell, which is support off of 160, and that is a trading range that broke to the upside. That's what most of the broader industrials look like, which is range, break. So these last few sessions, or as we push into November, that's a turning point, or a focal point at least, for the industrial sector. And of course that does include Honeywell. And these are just scanned by the daily operations. So I know a lot of indicators or a lot of trend lines on Caterpillar. Is a stock that I personally trade and mention quite frequently, as do some of us also here at TheoTrade. So it is pushing above a 145. Let's actually pull back the perspective on Caterpillar to see this recent bull call or bull forecast, which is off of 120, or if you got super lucky, or down at 112. I was calling a bullish rally off of this 120 level, and I was just thinking it was going to 130, so that was an in-out spread, or if you want to do a little bit larger risk, a bull vertical play that gave way to a break of something bigger, and that something bigger is a mean, big, large, a weekly chart bull flag. So Caterpillar is in this perspective of high volume and a surging daily chart, which is breaking through lots of resistance areas. And again, just to name a few, URI is United Rentals. We also can take a look at some of the other names, just kind of scrolling through. All of these are up in here. North Trust, just naming again a few. Honeywell, we talked about it too. Financials are in the mix as well, but just for tonight's video, I want to just discuss these industrial names. Cummins Engineering or Cummins Industrial is a name there. And so what else? Lots and lots of other, Packard. Again, stocks that have broken through resistance. What's the play? Things that are strong tend to get stronger. And it's always a good sign to find something trending, strong volume, strong momentum, and these breakout maneuvers. We want to buy the pullbacks. So trying to get in a bullish position or a bullish bet with vertical spreads or maybe even in-out spreads to the upside as the trend continues. If by chance you happen to be a contrarian trader, you might want to look at these opportunities, which are, most of them, grossly overbought, and maybe try to get a pullback or a retracement. So what I'm looking at is identifying some of these names. I'll be taking more time and looking at these individually on my own time there, just discussing that with you here at TheoTrade. But it's mainly taking a look at industrials, taking a look at anything you would like to. Dover Energy, for example, or Dover Corp, not Dover Energy, Dover Corp, and then a Quanta, and the list, UTX. We'll kind of end with a UTX possibly, because that's one you probably have heard of. Maybe haven't heard of the others. So United Technologies, one we have had, just like the others and have discussed, being in sideways resistance patterns, but they've broken, and they've broken not just on high volume, but have broken to new highs. Some of these names, again, are not just at new 52-week highs, but a new all-time high. So again, just looking back at prior examples, that sometimes stocks that go above resistance can extend. So for breakout or bullish traders, that may be a chance for you, but I think the best approach is going to be to wait for these pullbacks to take place, retracements or flags, if you will, and then to put positions on closer to these rising moving averages. But again, sometimes opportunities are best done where other traders are not looking, and I can just make a bet. Most traders are not looking at the industrials. We'll take a look there. This is Corey Rosenblum with your Theo Nightly video for November 5th, 2019.